So we're going to create an event in one particular class, and we're going to create a trigger attribute. We are going to mention the method that will be triggered for this event in another class, and we're going to do that now. Let's do it. Okay, so events to create. Okay, so here we have this class C1 definition end class. Then we have the public section. We have events E1, methods N1. Say I'll go for T1 because M1 is something which we want to mention it as a triggering method. So triggering method we want to mention it in next class. So I'll go for class C2 definition end class. So in this we have the public section again. In this public section we have methods M1 for event E1 of C1. Okay, this is how we are meant to mention. And here the class in which the event is mentioned is very important here and critical. So C1 is the class in which the event is mentioned. That's the reason we are giving it here. Then we are going to go ahead with class C1 implementation end class methods team. No. So this is the implementation. So we need to have it as method and method. So method and method. Here we are going to have this as T1. Say V1 will write as bright and T1 raising event E1 of C1. Okay, so here we'll write raise event E1. Okay, and this event we are raising it within that class. Okay, within this particular implementation of the first class, and then we'll go ahead with the implementation of the second class. Class C2 implementation end class method N1 in method I am event handler method in C2. I am event handler method in C2. So this is the method implementation of M1. Then we'll go ahead with the startup selection. So the data declaration can even go along well even under the startup selection as well. But normally we prefer to keep the definitions above the startup selection. So we're doing it. But it will not have any issue. There will not be any issue if you declare it under the startup selection. Okay, so here we have this obj1 type ref to c1, obj2 type ref to c2. So in the startup selection, we're going to go ahead with data. I mean, like, yeah, this is something which we create object obj1. Okay, so in create object, what we can do is we can write a colon here. You don't have to write again and again colon here, and we can have obj1 comma obj2. This works. Set handler obj1 obj1 m1 for, I mean, this is ob this m1 is in the second class, so obj2 m1 for obj1 obj1 m1 for obj or obj2 m1 for obj1. Now what happens here is when we say call method obj1 t1. Now what happens here is we are actually calling this t1. So the t1 triggers, and here the event e1 is raised. When event e1 is raised, under that event e1, so event e1 we have a specific method being declared in the other class. So we have this m1, and we get into the m1, and am event handler method in c2 will be getting triggered, and that would be something will be typed. Okay, so first what is there in the t1 will be typed, that is am method t1 raising event t1 c1, and then am event handler method in c2 will be raised. So we are going to, in the actual project we are going to raise this replace this write statement with some logic. Okay, there might be a different types of logic, but here the write statement will be replaced by that. So am method t1 raising event t1 of c1, am event handler method in c1. So these are the two things that we have. So basically the event is triggering the method of another class. That's very important, that the concept that we need to understand here. Yeah. So I'd keep this entire thing in the Word document. So in this, we have exhibited how we can trigger the method of one class from another class, making use of the event concept.